Alright, so this is for assignment 2, the biography page CSS. So the first thing I would suggest, and this is not just my class specifically, is that the first thing you should always do is just look at what the assignment is. So you can either go to Teach Me Cone, scroll way down to the bottom, and then the assignment's here. The tutorial will be here. It's not the right one currently. Or if you go to Blackboard, this probably might even be better. You log in. And if I go to your courses, you see I have a whole bunch in here, and I'll just go, you're either in the first or second section. If you go to the assignments tab, you can see the assignments, and then all you got to do, and this is also how you're going to submit it, you click on it, and then you can see, but if you click on the view rubric, you can actually see how I'm going to grade it. So I will just click on these various things, all right? So, yeah, there's that. So just make sure that you're following along with this. This is the first thing. So, I have my HTML right here, as you can see, and it looks acceptable. It's not super great. Let me see if I can show you. This is what it looks like. Okay, so it's an okay amount of content. And so now what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to go ahead and apply CSS to it. Okay, so using this is a guide, I'm gonna do that. So first off, I have to have a master folder created with subfolders and all that. So I have the HTML, but I have to make the folder structure. So what you want to do is either, whatever desktop, I would just do on your desktop, do a new folder, and I'm going to do Cone Biography, okay? So you can see it right here, Cone Biography. Then what I'm going to do is, I'm actually going to close out of this so that doesn't get messed up. I'm going to take the index that I already made, so your HTML, open that up, okay? Make this big so you can see it. Yeah. All right. Now inside of here, you would have a couple of folders. So I'm going to do right-click, new folder, and I'm going to do one called Images, which is where I'm going to put my pictures. Right-click, new folder, and then usually there's a CSS. Is it CSS or styles? It might be style. Nah, we'll go with CSS. Cleaner. CSS, and then new folder, and then there's JS for JavaScript, okay? So that's the typical structure, and if you have subpages and stuff, they would also exist in the same spot as this. Your CSS, if you have external style sheets, will go into there. We don't have any JavaScript in this, and your images would go there, okay? So I'm going to open up my images folder, and I'm just going to plop some images that I already planned on using. So basically, I have these. I'm just going to take these guys, and I'm going to plop them in here. And now I've got my pictures. And so if you look, it's all in a nice contained little thing there, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to right click on this, and I'm going to open with, and we're going to open it with Visual Studio Code, okay? Or whatever editor makes you feel, warm and fuzzy. Okay. So again, I'm just going to look at the assignment. I did the master folder. I got all the stuff in there. That's fine. Images attached and links attached, okay? So, for the hyperlink, I am, in my case, oops, I'm going to get rid of this a little bit, and we're going to get rid of this. Okay. What happened here? Oh, because it's not, okay, so, see how it's going way off to the right there? So I'm just going to go to View, and I'm going to do Word Wrap. And that way it wraps the words. And stop, I already told you no thank you. Alright. So I need to add a link. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and put it underneath my like sign here. So I'm just going to go and I'm just going to do a P first, and then inside the P I'm going to do an A href for horizontal reference equals, and then we're going to set it to my site, which would be teachmecone.fly. Why can I not spell? Wheelsites.com. I don't care where you put, boom, like that. And let me see. Ahref. Oh, close it like that. Okay. So ahref looks like that, and oops, I did that wrong. Okay. So I have the opening tag, then what it's actually going to say, and I'll just put teach me cone. All right. And then I have to close the A. So basically you have this A href. So it's href equals, and then put quotes, and then put in your site. So you could just make it Google or something. I don't really care. I don't think I require subpages. Let me double check. You must attach at least one image and create one hyperlink. Okay, so it doesn't, you don't actually have to make it, but you have to have a hyperlink in there. So it has to function. So this should hopefully work. So I'm just going to go ahead and save that. I'll say Control S, or you can go, or Command S, or you can go File, Save. And then I think this ain't going to work because, yeah, I moved that file. So I'm just going to go down in here and double click on that, and it'll pop up, and you can see Teach Me Cone. There's my link, and it doesn't work, but okay. Oh, you know why? So hang on a second. I didn't do this right. So instead of typing it out like this, the best way to go about doing it is actually to go to the site, teachmecone.flyable-sites, and Control C, or right-click copy. I'm going to go in here, and then I'm just going to replace this. Because what you're going to notice is going to say HTTP. You'll see in a second. Paste. HTTP. Because otherwise what it does, because I didn't have this part in the beginning, it's looking locally for teachmecone.com. I know that doesn't make any sense, but it has to have this so that it knows to use the Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Then it will look for it. So Control S. That's why. This is also why it's important to make sure that you are. And I'll refresh it, and if I click on it, it works. Okay, beautiful. That's why I want to keep updating, make sure everything is working. Okay, so there's one link. If you need to do more, you can just do more. So maybe you got like, I really like gaming, and then you can do a link to IGN.com, or I really like old-looking websites, so you can connect it to Yahoo.com. Whatever kind of works for you. All right. The other thing I need to do is add some images. So I think probably after my name, maybe before Humble Beginnings, I'll put a picture in here. So I'm just going to go ahead and we're going to do an IMG for image, SRC. All right, source. And then I just hit enter, and I already knew. And then if you look, this is how we know where it is. It's so right now we are here, okay? So I need to go to images, and then I need to select one of these pictures. So it's going to be images / okay, because that's the folder it's in. And then I need to grab the picture. So, God, I don't really like, we're going to go with this one. So what I need to do is I need to make sure it's exactly right. So you see it says it's a TIFF file. That's no good. What's this one? That's a JPEG file. That one will work. And what's this one? That's a TIFF. Okay, so these two actually won't even work. So I actually am going to use this one. And I'm just going to rename it real quick. We'll just do portrait. All right, so that's the name of it. And if I right-click, you'd be get info on a Mac, but I could right-click and do properties. It will tell you what type it is. Okay, so it says JPG, so it's a JPEG. All right. So I'm going to do images, and then it was portrait.jpg. Now sometimes JPEGs will actually JPEG. You have to look at yours and make sure that it's one or the other, because believe it or not, it will only accept the one that actually corresponds to it. I know it's kind of stupid. Then that. Okay, so now that's an image. So there's other things I should put in there, but I'm just going to go with that for now. I'm going to go ahead and save that. Control S. Go back here, hit Control R or F5, and that will refresh. You can see it's a little bit big, and I'm ugly. All right, beautiful. Okay. So let's go. Oops, recorder's recording. I know it's recording. Thank you. All right. So that's that. Now let's go ahead and do this in HTML. We really should do it in CSS, but I think it's good to do it anyway. Now I could determine the width and the height. The problem is if I do both, there's a chance that it's going to stretch it. So I'm only going to determine one, and usually you go by width. So I'm going to do width, and I will set that to, let's say, I don't know, let's do 540 px, okay? Like that. Actually, I don't need to do that. Like that, okay? And then I'll save that. Go back here, oops, to this one, Control R, and there it is. It's a little bit smaller. It might need more size adjustment. We'll deal with that in a little bit. Okay. So, good. I got a picture attached, and if you need to do more pictures, I would suggest it. Why not? Attach more pictures, okay? So, updated content. If you look, I already updated all this. That just means, like, you might not have written much in the first one, or we found errors, or anything like that. Anything extra you want to add. The more that you have in here, the more you have to work with. You know what I mean? Like when you apply your CSS. So don't try to skimp too much. CSS, add rules to control text, add rules to control the images, and add rules to control the boxes, okay? And then generally aesthetic. So basically, you got to add some CSS. Now we're going to do embedded CSS. We're not going to do inline. We're not going to write it right inside of these. What we're going to do is we're going to put it inside the head, okay? Now afterwards, if we want, we can go ahead and put it as an external CSS, but we're going to do internal for this just because it's easier. It's all in one sheet. So to do that, you're just going to do style, and then you're going to do type, and it's going to be text/CSS, and that's it. Okay, and then we're going to go like that, and then it automatically knows how to close it. And now we can go ahead and start pumping that in there. All right, so hang on a second. All right, so now we're ready to put some stuff in here. So generally speaking, it's always a good idea to just try to control, you know, your site. Okay, so I'm going to go over here, and I'm looking, and I don't really like this font here. So I'm just going to go ahead and right off the bat, I'm going to do stuff that selects all my P's, and we'll also have it do my, what do we got in here? I got P's, H1s, H3s, and I think that's everything, right? I don't think I have anything else in there. I have emphasis in other ones, but we're going to go like that. And then I'm going to open up my brackets here. So this is my selector, okay? Then these are the brackets. Now what I'm going to do is add a rule. So we're going to do font-family, and then you can see we have these options here, okay? Now if you don't know which ones you want, you're going to have to, I don't know, look at it. So I'm going to go ahead and just go with an Arial, just because it's the least, I don't know. I'm just going to do Arial, all right? Like that, and now if I save it and I refresh it, Control R, you can see that now it's got this much more simple sort of font, okay? Now, like I said, you can type that in there and it should pop up. If it doesn't pop up, you could try doing W3Schools, 3schools.com, and go to Learn CSS. And let's see where they have font families, fonts. And they should have right here. You should be able to type these in. These are the generic ones that you typically see on most computers. Should have a version of these. And then they even have like examples. So let's see if they have. But you should be able to type these in. And basically you want to type it in like this. Just as a reminder, the first one's the one that it wants to try and do, and then if it doesn't have that, then it gets more and more generic, typically. So if it doesn't have this, it'll then try Helvetica. If it doesn't have Helvetica, then it'll do sans serif. Because sans serif is the most generic, the most broad, okay? So I just went ahead and I applied that to everything, so that it's all one. It's all that sans serif. I think that just looks a little bit nicer, it's a little bit cleaner, so on and so forth. Okay. So that's a typical that I selected and I did stuff with my fonts. Now let's go ahead and we will do stuff with what do you call it? I said images, boxes. What's there? Add rules for the images. Okay. So let's go back here. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to do IMG. Now there's a problem because if I have more than one picture, it's going to apply it to all of them, which I may or may not want. So what I'm going to do is, I think we covered IDs this class. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an ID to my image here so that I can select this specific image. Okay, so I'm just going to go here and I'm just going to do ID equals, I'm just going to call it me pick. Okay, that way I know what it is. It's a picture of me. Now I'm just going to go up here. Now to select an ID is the pound symbol. That's how old I am. I don't say hashtag. We'll do me pick. And what it's going to do is it's going to select anything that has an ID, or there should only be one thing if it's an ID. And now I can apply it to just this element. Okay. And so we're just going to go ahead and I'm just going to reiterate what was already there. So width, and then what did I do? 540, I think. 540 px, like that. Okay. And then let's go. Oh no, we didn't cover that yet. With that, Good. We'll just say, oh, yeah, that's good. We're going to save that. And just to show you that it's working, I'm actually going to remove this. Oops, Control Z. I would suggest leaving it for yours, but I'm just going to remove it, okay? Control S. And now if I were to refresh this, it should look exactly the same, and it does. Because even though it's not being determined back here, I'm just going to undo what I just did, Control Z. It will, this will handle it. So either way, that's being done, okay? What else could I do to a picture? Yeah, we'll just do that. So, hang on one second. Alright, so, we did that. Now what I want to do is, I'm just going to look at the site here, and I need to do stuff with, we don't need this anymore, boxes and that sort of thing, okay? Yeah, so, let's see. I got that. Alright, so first off, I would like it feels like it's right up against the left here. So I would like in general for this whole thing to have a little bit of space between the content and the outside. So that would be, that could be done in a couple of ways. Let's go ahead and just use margin. And I'm going to go ahead and do that. Let's see what on here. Margin, and I'm going to do that on the body. Okay, so this is a box element. So I'm going to go to body. And then I'm just going to do margin. Which is, if I did margin left, margin right, it'll only do it to one. But margin, this will apply to all of them. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do, let's say, I don't know, 25 pixels. Okay? And we'll save that. Go here and Control R. And you can see, it took the entire thing and then shoved it. So now it doesn't feel like it's hugging it quite so much, which I think is a little bit better. Alright, it's a thing. Okay. Oops, keep clicking back on that. Alright. So that's pretty good. Now let's see if we can add, I just want to see what else we covered up here that I could possibly apply. We could add an outline to things, I guess, and some background color. Alright, so let's see. Alright, let's go ahead and I would like to maybe have this section like colored as one piece. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to make a div that wraps all the way around this part here. So what that means is basically from humble beginnings, I'm going to go like this. Just put a space there so I can visually see it. It doesn't actually show up in the thing. All the way to this, okay? Basically this whole, the meaty text section, I'm going to put a background on there, like a background color, like gray or something, okay? So I'm just going to go ahead and we're going to do a div. So I can group it. Then we'll do ID equals, and we'll just call it content. That's a really common one that people use, okay? So div ID content, I'm going to take this, and I'm going to Control X so you can right click and cut. And we're going to put it down here, tab that in, and paste. Now, oops, tab that in. Now, what you'll notice is that these elements now, this PH and everything underneath it is parented to it, so I should tab all these in, so that you can tell that the div is its parent. So it's going to click and drag across all of it, hit tab, and now you can see this is, you know, that these are inside of that. Now when I go up here and I apply anything to content, it will happen. So I'm going to go ahead and do hashtag, and we're going to do, what do I call it, content, curly braces, and then we're going to apply it. So we're going to do background, background, and we're going to go ahead and do color. And, ooh, it gives me options. Let's see. What would be a pretty... I don't want to do, like, dark gray. Oh, because it's the same. These are actually highly not correct, by the way. I'm going to stay American here. So we'll do dark slate gray. I don't know. We'll say that that's fine. And then I'm going to go ahead and also add a bit of padding. Padding, which is just the space between the outside and the content inside. So, actually, you know what? I'll not do it first so you can see why we're doing it. So I'm going to save this. Go here. And I'm going to refresh. And I don't like that color at all, but it is there. Alright? So if you look here, basically what you're going to notice is... Freaking motorcycles. Alright. What you're going to notice here is, see how like it's right up against the edge here? Which doesn't look particularly great. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of try and fix that a little bit. So I'm going to go in here and we're going to add padding. Padding. And I'm just going to add it to all sides and we'll just do 10 pixels, we'll say. Now what you'll notice is Control S. And I really don't like this dark slate. Do they have light? I wonder if they have light slate gray. light. Let's see if that works. All right, Control R. They do. Now you'll notice is that, see how now there's a little bit of a buffer between the sides here? And that looks pretty okay. Yeah, so we got some stuff going there. Now what I could do is maybe even take maybe the titles here and maybe have those be white so that it matches. Or actually, you know what? Let's take the entire background here. I'll make it a light gray. So I already have body up here, so I'm just going to do it right to the body. And we're just going to do background color. Background color. And we're just going to do light gray. Okay? And we'll save that. And what was I going to do before? I forget. That's going to be light gray. Oh, and then I was going to do white for the H1s here. So I'm just going to go down here, and we'll do actually, it's all H3s is what I use. So H3, and we're going to go ahead and basically make the color, okay, that's the font, and we're going to make that white, okay? And we'll just save that. And if I go back here and hit Control R, you see that now this is white, and that looks a little bit, you know, a little bit cooler. And also I made this a light gray, which is a little bit better than that white. That was a little not working too well for me, okay? Now, what we'll also do is, see how we have these things where it says strong? I feel like they're a little too bold. What I'm going to do instead, and this is, again, the reason why we use strong and not bold, is I'm going to look for strong, okay? Because I have a bunch of things here where I have strong, see? And I'm going to go ahead and do the color on these. We're going to do dark gray. And make sure I put my semicolon. Alright, and if I go back here, and Control R, you can see that now that looks much, much worse. Okay. I'm just going to leave it for now because I don't care that much, but you can see that that's that. Let me see what else we could do. Oh, so if you look down here, I'm not a big fan of the way that this Teach Me Cone is written, right? It says Teach Me Cone, and it's that typical blue. Now I want to make it so that you can tell what it is, but I don't want it to be ugly. So we're going to go ahead and fix that a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll just do A, see if this works. I might have to do a link, but we're going to do text, decoration, and we're going to do none. What that's going to do is it's going to remove the underline. Okay. We're also going to do color, and we'll do dark gray again, just because I'm trying to. And you, like I said, you can look through the colors and choose your different color theme. We're also going to do font. Is it font width or is it text width? It's font width. Font weight. There you go. Font weight. And then basically 100 is the thinnest, 900 is the thickest. Let's go ahead and we'll do 700. All right. And that should probably be good. And what that's going to do is it's our A, so that's our link here. And I'm going to go here and we'll hit Control R. And now you can see, oh, there it is. Okay. So it looks pretty good. And I don't think I covered how to format links yet. So we'll cover how to do the some of that stuff later on. All right. How to adjust like on hover and click and things like that. So let's go back here. Let's look at our site and it's coming together. Okay. I'm going to take this actually and make this the same color as this. Just trying to get this kind of cool slate color scheme. So again, back here, go up to the top, and we will do an H1 selector, and I'm just going to do color, and we're going to do it light slate gray. So that way it matches the other. And I'm also going to take the size and make it bigger. So we're going to do font size. And now you can do this by pixels or EMs or percentages. I'm going to go ahead and do EMs on this one. We've been doing pixels for everything else, but basically 1 EM is currently where it's at. If you do anything above that, it's going to make it larger than what it is right now. And if you do anything lower, it's going to be lower than what it is right now. I actually want to make it considerably larger, so let's try 3 EM. And we'll just save that. Control S. Back here, Control R. And now you can see it looks pretty good. And alright, so what are we at? We're at like 24 minutes. I don't want to make this too long. Trying to cover most of the things that we've already done. So we could do a border on something. Let's go ahead and do a border on the picture. It won't look good, but we'll just do it. So I already have an ID for the picture, so I'm just going to use that again. I already have it up here, so the ID pick. And we're just going to do border style first. All right, you could do it all as one big thing, but I forget what order it goes. So these are our options. We could do dash dotted group. Honestly, it almost always looks best. It's just solid. Good. Now we'll do border hyphen color, and we're just gonna go ahead and do that light. Oh, and you know what? We don't want to do. Let's do dark gray. Okay, dark gray, and then we'll do. I got solid dark gray, and now we need the width. So border hyphen width, and we'll just do this by pixels, and we'll just say we'll go by 3 pixels. We'll say. All right, Control S, and go back here, and Control R. And now you can see there's like a little bit of a dark gray border around it, which kind of helps, you know, kind of helps work. And I'm just going to take this and make this dark gray as well. So let's just go ahead. Now if you look, this is a good example. I have this P here, but I don't want to do it to all P's. So again, I'm going to have to do a style here. So what I'm going to do is I want to apply this to multiple ones. So normally an ID is fine if it's just on one thing. But I'm going to do a class for this. So class equals, I don't think we covered divs and stuff, did we? Let me double check something here. No, we did. Okay. So class equals, and then we're going to call it light text. I don't know. It's not a good name for it. It's not very descriptive. So light text. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this bit here and I'm going to copy it. Control C, or you can right click and copy. And then I'm also going to put it on the bottom here where I write colon, space, and Control V. So now it's inside both of these. So now when I go up here, I can make a selector that's a class. So to do a class, it's not the hashtag, it's the dot, it's a period. And then it was it light, usually it comes up, text. Okay, and we're going to just do color, and we're going to do dark gray. And then I'm also going to do font weight, and we're going to do a little bit lighter. We're going to do like 300. Okay. Control. Oh, you know what else I'm going to do? I'm also going to make the font size larger. So font size. And again, we're going to buy EM. So we'll just do 2 EM. Control S. All right. And if I go back to here, Control R, you can see that's a little too large. I don't like how big that is. So let's go back to this. And let's do like 1.25 EMs. Control S. And go back here, Control R. And that's a little bit better. Okay. Probably could be a little bit darker. I might go through and like change the colors of those. But we get a basic idea of, you know, what it looks like. All right. Hopefully that's enough. You know, you can, obviously don't do it exactly like I just did it, because that won't look very good. I'm going to do one more thing, actually. I'm going to take my width of this. I'm just going to chop it down. I don't like how long it is. So, right now, a typical screen, most of your guys' screens are going to be 1920 wide by 1080 tall. Okay, that's what like a TV is, or most monitors today. Your typical ones. A lot of the Mac ones are actually higher. So I usually use that as kind of a guide. So if you look, we already have this thing called content. So I'm just going to go right inside the content one, and I'm just going to do width. And we're going to do, let's say we do, we're going to make it by percentages. We're not going to use pixels. So I want it to go, let's say 75% of the screen. 75%. And boom, and Control S. And now, if I go here, Control R, you can see no matter what, it's always 75%. So that means 3/4. But watch this when I shrink it. Yeah. Hang on a second. It will actually, it's what we call liquid. It'll actually move with the screen. If I had just done like 300 pixels, it would be 300 pixels. And no matter when I squash this or not, it would. So now it's a percentage, just so you can see how to do that too, in case you want to do percentages. And you can do that on images or whatever. So I just did it for this section. All right. So that's not great. Obviously, what I would like to do is have this maybe next to the picture, but I'm going to show you how to do that next class. But this is good enough that you can kind of see that we're getting there. All right. So good luck. Do something like that, you know, but your own. All right. Oops, I don't need to say that.